Welcome to the Real Estate Update Podcast, where we focus on homebuyer education because knowledge is power. I'm your host, Paul Centopani, and joining me today is Ralph DiBugnara, Senior Vice President at New American Funding. Ralph, thank you so much for coming on. And before we get started, I just wanted to say, bing bong.
That's great. Thank you for having me. It's a much better welcome with the Knicks jersey on. That's live and die with them. So that's amazing.
Oh yeah, of course. What a run.
It was
They really
crazy.
did it.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
All right, now that we got that out of our system, let's talk home buying and FHA loans. You know, the lack of affordability is a huge pain point for home buyers. And while average mortgage rates are lower compared to this time in the past 3 years, that caused demand to percolate. Nobody wants buyer's remorse when purchasing a home, especially if you have to go above the asking price. What are some things to target or avoid in a property to help better ensure you make a smart investment?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think especially in bidding wars and lines out the door for open houses and everything like that seems to be back again, especially in some states. I think that the same principles that have always applied apply still, and that's buying in good school districts, buying in places that are being developed as far as economically, for culture, for jobs, for all that stuff. I think all those areas are still a safe buy. Any place that has a good school system will always be something that the values will continue to rise no matter what. I think the mistakes that you're seeing some people make that should be avoided is because they're so desperate to buy, and a lot of people want to buy new. I think what they're doing is they're looking at homes that maybe are in areas that aren't there yet, and they're buying new in those areas. So they're overpaying in areas that aren't really necessarily a good investment yet. They may be in the future, but they're not yet. So there's a good part to being early, but sometimes you don't want to be too early. That's one, and I think what we're seeing a lot on my side, on the finance side, is you're seeing, a lot of inspection issues. So I think if you're going to buy a house, make sure you're buying a house that needs like superficial renovations, like kitchens, bathrooms, paint, siding are okay. You don't want anything with structural issues or major plumbing issues or major electric issues because that could be a big problem down the line. So those are the things I kind of would look for and avoid.
Okay, make sure that foundation's solid. Good bones. All
Yeah.
right. Do you have any tips to stretch home buying budgets or maximize the individual affordability?
I know we mentioned FHA, and that's always a good option in the situation because it's less of a down payment at the very least, where they're looking for 3.5% down. Although there are conventional programs that offer 3% down at this point, but FHA usually is easier to qualify. I think what you're seeing now, what you still get is there's a lot of down payment assistance programs out there right now. There's national programs and there's also local programs that you can get assistance even if it's just a 3.5% down payment. You can get that, and some of that stuff you can even credit towards closing costs. So that's a good way to look at it. Outside of that, and everybody talks about interest rates, but I would always just focus on what my overall budget is, what monthly payment can I actually afford, and go with that. So sometimes right now, because houses are so expensive, you're better off almost analyzing the rest of your budget. What is your car insurance? What are your subscription payments? What is your medical bills, stuff like that every single month. I think people tend to focus so heavily on the mortgage payment and they don't look at the other stuff that could be costing them hundreds and thousands of dollars. So I think to stretch your budget on your house, sometimes you have to look at the other stuff. Sellers concessions are still available, and that's something, depending on where you're buying, you can get owners to accept to kind of help with your closing costs and your payment. But I would right now, because we're in a higher cost time period, I would look at your other items in your budget that you can cut out.
Okay, yeah. So full picture, not just, how can I make my house or find a cheaper house?
For
So you
sure.
got to look at your whole budget. Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
And you kind of went into this a little bit. There's a bunch of different mortgage types to choose from. They're not all the same. FHA loans are designed for lower financial hurdles for borrowers to clear. Can you just give like a brief synopsis of the FHA loan program and what its purpose is?
Yeah, so FHA just, it's kind of been almost misconstrued a lot over the years. It's not just for first-time home buyers; it's for everybody, first of all. But what it was really built as, and what it still is today, is it's easier to qualify for, to get approved, and to close on than a conventional Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage is. Reason being is they allow credit scores. Most lenders are going to tell you 580, that they allow down to a 580, which is more aggressive than conventional loans are. They allow for a low down payment, but you see that in other places now with 3.5% down. Most of the down payment assistance programs, though, are approved for FHA, almost all of them. So even down payment assistance programs are almost easily applicable with FHA. So that's another kind of scenario there. They're a little bit more stringent on appraisal issues, where there's certain things you have to meet requirement-wise for appraisals, but it's nothing that people think it is. It's a railing, it's a lock on a window, it's chipped paint. It's not like anything structural. So that kind of gets played up a little bit. Well, the appraisals are a problem. The appraisals really aren't that big of an issue. It's a different appraisal, but it's not an appraisal issue. So, that's something you look out for. And the only thing I would say on the negative side is that it's a higher cost loan to get into as far as closing costs go, because you're paying an upfront mortgage insurance premium, and they all have mortgage insurance no matter what you do. Whether you put 3.5% down and 20% down, you're going to have mortgage insurance on an FHA loan. So those are kind of what I look at from a daily basis as pros and cons to it.
Well, sure, yeah, of course. There's drawbacks and all that with any sort of loan and positives. How much does that upfront mortgage insurance cost?
So it's really it depends on how much money you're putting down in some situations, and if you're taking a 30 or a 15-year mortgage. But if you're looking at a total picture with an FHA mortgage compared to a conventional mortgage, an FHA mortgage is probably on average going to cost you between 2 and 3% higher because of the reserve requirements and the upfront mortgage insurance premium than a conventional mortgage will do. So, 2 to 3% of your purchase price. So that's something to consider on the way in, that it's going to be a little bit more expensive up front than a conventional mortgage is going to be.
Gotcha, but you save in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, listen, here's the positives, right? On a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, there's risk adjusters for interest rates. So there's going to be a risk adjuster for your rate on your credit score. There's a risk adjuster on how much money you're putting type down. There's a risk adjuster for what type of property it is, if it's a condo or a single family. There's a million risk adjusters. On FHA loans, there are no risk adjusters. So you got a better chance, if you're not in a perfect situation, of getting a lower interest rate than you do in a conventional mortgage.
Okay, and that's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, for sure.
And what do you need to qualify to get an FHA?
So 580 is the minimum score that most lenders will tell you. There are some lenders, and New American Funding is one of them, that'll go under 580, depending on the situation. But 580 is really the minimum credit score. They allow for above the debt to income ratios that conventional loans allow for too, whereas you can really go up to what's considered almost a 50 front. It's not 50, but it's close to a 50 front end, which is mean your housing payment can almost be 50% of your total gross income.
What's the difference between that and the conventional? What is
conventional is really a hard stop at 43% on your mortgage payment. Between 37 and 43% is the max you're going to get on that most of the time. So FHA loans are definitely a little bit more aggressive there.
Okay, and the credit score requirement for conventionals?
So you're going to start at a 620 pretty much all the time. There's programs that go below that, but it's going to be hard to get an approval through the automated approval system if you're under 620.
And so, when you're working with borrowers, who would you recommend apply for an FHA loan?
So I'm from New York, New Jersey. I'm from New York originally. I live in New Jersey now, but I'm from an area where there's a lot of multifamily homes. FHA loans are the best for multifamily home investing because it's not a different down payment on a 2 or 3 family than it is on a 1 family. So whereas on a conventional financing, it's a lot more money down. Most of the time it's 20%. It's between 10 and 20%. So it's great for multifamily financing. It's great if you have a lower credit score. It's great if you have a little bit harder to explain income situation and you can't show the income you qualify for. So in those 3 scenarios, I think I would look to it. Even if I was buying a condo, I would look at an FHA loan because there's less risk adjusters. Whereas with Fannie Mae, they look at condos a little bit more risky, and it's going to be a much higher rate on a condo than it's going to be in a single family residence.
Okay, that's good to know. And then final question for you. What is the top advice you'd give to first-time home buyers in the housing market right now?
I think if you want to buy a home, you should always be looking. I don't think you should be trying to time the market at all. So don't time the market for prices. Don't time the market for interest rates. I think set a budget, have a monthly payment that you're comfortable with, and go out and shop based off of that. And once you start shopping, don't fall in love with a house that isn't yours. So I think a lot of people fall in love with a house and they end up overpaying, especially in today's market, because I have to have this house. I think you have to almost always be willing to walk away and be patient with the process because it's a much longer process now in a home search. The mortgage process and the closing process is quicker, but the home search process is longer. So the more patient you're going to be, the better deal you're going to get. listen to the experts as far as when they're telling you to make offers and, hey, this is a good price based off the comparable properties, but don't overpay for a property that's not yours, and don't try to time the market. I think those are the two big mistakes that I see being made.
Yeah, I know people want to wait for that perfect rate, for it to come down, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they're set. But we don't know what's going to happen, and you could always refinance down the road if they do
sure.
come down.
Yeah,
All
it
right, so
doesn't. The
always
perfect rate doesn't exist.
right, of course, of course. So always be looking and always be ready to walk away.
1,000%. Yeah, I think in my own personal journey, that's where I've succeeded and failed. I've succeeded when I was patient, I was willing to walk away, and I failed on a large level when I wasn't. So I think that's the best way to be.
All right, yeah, patience is a virtue after all. Ralph, thank you so much for coming on. This was great, and hope to talk to you again soon. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much.